Coming up on this week's episode of SVG Motors Weekly, where we move you up a couple years, keep your payments the same. Move you up a couple years, keep your payments the same. That's right.
I'm going to introduce real quick Steve Encore, the owner of SVG Motors. We are so excited to have you here, and we're so excited to hear your story. Please share it with us.
All right, thank you, Greg.
My favorite vehicle here to sell at SVG is the Chevy Trax. And the reason why I like to sell them is because I actually own one myself.
Check the tire pressure on my tires, because that makes sense to improve my gas mileage. But there's got to be another way to get better gas mileage.
Well, there's also a few other things you can do. Number one,
In my mind is that if we can quiet that little negative person inside of us, because we all have it.
Need a car, need it bad, need something better than what you had. Not sure what you want or where to go. Well, there's one place that you need to know. SVG is the place for me, where you get superior value guaranteed.
Oh my goodness, is this a good looking truck or what? The 2014 Dodge Durango. I love the way you've got the red grille. It's all painted to match. 2014 Dodge Durango, all-wheel drive, brand new tires, good looking wheels. Mel, what's going on in there?
Don't forget the backup camera, 50,000 miles, Bluetooth, 7 passengers. Should I keep going?
Oh my goodness, she's loaded. All-wheel drive, how many miles?
Clean Carfax, 50,000 miles. Forget about it.
You can't beat the deal. So here at SVG Motors, something like this you would expect to pay $30,000. No, here at SVG Motors in Dayton, $22,000 even. Where? Dayton.
Sweet.
Yeah. Next to me, a 2015 Subaru Outback. And I feel like I should change my accent to an Australian. I don't even know how to do that. But anyway, amazing ride. Great. One of the best deals we have on this lot. I love these Outbacks. Got a nice luggage rack. Hey, what's going on in there?
Not too much. How you doing, Steve?
Good. How many miles we got on this?
This thing has only 83,000 miles on it.
83,000 miles. What kind of equipment do we have?
This thing's got a backup camera, heated seats, power seats, Bluetooth.
So can you see me back here? Did you see me in the backup camera?
I saw you back there, Steve.
Okay. Clean Carfax. NADA Retail says that this vehicle should sell for over $18,000. Today here at SVG Motors in Dayton, we're making a heck of a deal. $15,400 right here in Dayton on Shoot Mill Road. Jeep Grand Cherokee, that's all I gotta say, and this is a nice one. Nate, boy, you always pick out the good one. She's got chrome door handles, got a little button to open the doors, turn signal in the rear there. I like this ride. What do you think?
Steve, it is loaded.
She's loaded.
I'm telling you, it's Bluetooth connectivity, navigation, backup camera, heated seats. I mean, it's got everything.
Leather. You know, something like this new was over $40,000. Here at SVG Motors, NADA Retail is a little over $28,000. You know what? $27,300. How many miles?
Only 22,000 miles on a
2015, $27,300 here at SVG Motors in Dayton, where we move you up a couple years, keep your payments the same. Move you up a couple years, keep your payments the same. That's right. In this segment, I get to introduce you to Greg Fay, a really good friend of mine. We go to church together, but moreover, he is one of the most active people in the community there in Centerville area. And anyway, he's part of the Centerville Noon Optimist Club, and he asked me to come speak to all the members there, and we went to the Heavier Than Air brewery there in Centerville.
Steve, we're not trying to embarrass you here, but we really love your last commercial.
You like that?
So we thought if anybody hasn't seen it, Greg, you have it ready. It's got a cool little
Great job last month. We did awesome. But we got to keep the momentum going. We got to sell some cars. I got an idea. I'm thinking what we do is move our customers up a couple years in their vehicles and keep their payments close to the same. You feel me? Move them up a couple years, keep their payments the same. Move them up a couple years, keep their payments the same. Move them up a couple years, keep their payments the same. Move them up a couple years, keep their payments the same. Move them up a couple years, keep their payments the same. Move them up a couple years, keep their payments
are so excited to have you here, and we're so excited to hear your story. Please share it with us.
All right, thank you, Greg. I'm a pretty normal guy, I like to think. I never set out to be a car salesman. It's not like I was in school going, what do I want to be? I want to be a car salesman, you know? That's not how it happened, okay? Not at all. My dad was in the Air Force, and we traveled. Every 3 years, we were somewhere new. I was born in Miami, Florida, and but prior to that, his first assignment in the Air Force was Madrid, Spain, where he met my mother. And I was the net result of that meeting. And I have the best parents in the world. They still live together and are married, and just a great, I talk to my dad almost on a daily basis and ask for advice on how to do things. He's an aircraft mechanic and works for Delta. And my mom has had odd and end jobs. Her last one was here. She was working at the golf course on base, driving the golf cart and handing out beer. And I get people all the time stop me and say, "Where's your mom? Where's your mom?" She's about this tall, talks really strong Spanish accent, but she is. I get my personality from my mother. My dad, on the other hand, is complete opposite. He just as soon not talk to anybody. Yeah, traveled all my life, different bases, and I guess it was hard growing up, going to different bases, because you make friends, and before you know it, you're thrown into meeting a new person. There's probably some people in this room who are military brats like me who can appreciate what I'm talking about, having gone from base to base to base and having to meet new people. But I guess it helped me become the person I need to be able to meet new people and not make it so difficult to do that. But I was working out there right out of high school. I was taking classes on base at Park College. I don't know if some of you are familiar with Park College. On most Air Force bases, they have a program for dependents to go to school. So I was taking classes at Park College, and I was working out at the base exchange, the BX there in the stereo department. And a friend of mine said, "Hey, you know what? You have a personality. You need to try to go sell cars." I thought, sell cars? What? So anyway, yeah, what the? Sell cars? So I did that. I went downtown, and I got to tell you, right out of the gate, I sucked. And anyhow, I was there for 3 years. And Mom and Dad said, "Hey, we're leaving Idaho. We're going to another place. We're going to Dayton, Ohio." And I said, I know they got a pretty good football team, but where is Ohio?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Okay, for those of you that don't know it yet, the sun's shining. It's not going to be that cold anymore. It's time for Jeep Wranglers. Oh yeah, and guess where you can get them? Here at SVG Motors in Dayton. Next to me is the unlimited Jeep Wrangler Sport, and I'm telling you, Bruce, what's going on?
Nothing much.
What do you like about these Jeeps?
I see here it says Jeep since 1941. That means since 1941, Jeep has carried our military and everybody any place they wanted to go.
We love to support our military, don't we?
We do.
Yes, sir. I come from a retired military background, and Bruce, you are involved with helping out different people with the service. But I tell you what, this Jeep Wrangler, I love these things. You can take the top off, have some fun with it. How many miles on this?
34,197.
Can't beat that. You would expect to pay well over $30,000 for this. NADA retail is $28,400. I'm thinking we could sell this for $27,500.
Steve.
Yeah.
$27,200.
$27,200? Okay, $27,200. There you go. SVG Motors in Dayton, where we move people up a couple years and
keep the payment the same.
Yeah, baby. I don't know what it is, but I love these Buick Encores. This is a 2016 Buick Encore. Take a look at the front end on this thing. Is that not sexy? I mean, this is a good-looking ride. I tell you what, that car makes you look good.
I appreciate that. 11,000 miles.
11,000 miles on a 2016?
Backup camera, remote start, navigation, heated seats, sunroof. And if we can move you up a couple years and keep your payments the same, would you consider it?
I gotta tell you, that is exactly what we do here in Dayton. Mel, thanks for reminding me. NADA Retail says we should sell this for $22,000, but here at SVG, no, we're gonna sell this for $21,200, and I gotta tell you, what did you say? 11,000 miles?
11,000.
For $21,200 here at SVG Motors in Dayton. We're moving people up a couple years, and we're keeping the payments the same.
Hi, my name is Amber Slusher.
I'm John Beakey.
Hi, I'm Allison Hardy.
Hi, I'm Brian Lloyd.
Hi, I'm Corey Morris.
My favorite vehicle here to sell at SVG is the Chevy Trax. And the reason why I like to sell them is because I actually own one myself. I bought my Trax because I wanted to move up to an SUV, but I still wanted to be small enough where I wouldn't feel like that it was a big vehicle, because I'm only 5'1", so I'm a small person, and I've always owned small vehicles, and it actually still gets really, really good on gas. I average about 36 miles to the gallon in it. The Trax is perfect for someone who wants an SUV, but it's not a full-size SUV, and it's pretty easy to get in and out of. Overall, the Chevy Trax is a great, affordable, compact SUV.
My favorite vehicle we sell here at SVG is the 2018 Chevrolet Equinox. Has a great crash rating, gets great fuel economy for a mid-size SUV, like 31 miles to the gallon, and has 170 horsepower. So it has a decent amount of power for as small as it is. Plenty of room for a family. Got room in the back to put your gear and soccer balls and all that good stuff. Just a great vehicle to commute to work in every day, or go take a little short weekend trip.
My favorite vehicle that we sell here at SVG would probably have to be the Malibu. The Malibu I can relate with because I own one myself. They have a great ride and feel to them. They're a very reliable car. The Malibu has a great look to them, very aerodynamic. The Malibu gets up to 36 miles to the gallon, which is great, especially if you're making long trips. You know, especially with family, it's a great family car as well.
My favorite vehicle that I sell here is the Silverado. A couple reasons. One, I'm a truck guy. You know, I like the ride of a truck, and I like the way the truck looks. The only bad thing about a truck is if your friends are moving, they're going to call you first, so you end up having to be the one to help them move usually. But one of the things I like about the Silverado is the function of the Silverado. So if I have something I need to haul, I have a truck right there. If I have something I need to pull, I have a trailer hitch on it with the Z82 trailer and package on there. So it's more of a function thing, but yeah, you can take the family, you know, out to eat with it also. Plus another thing about the Silverado is the amount of accessories that you can purchase on one. You can customize those things just how you want them, which is kind of nice because you can't do that with your basic car. I mean, on this Silverado, you can add running boards, you can add bed liners, you can add, some people even add stacks in them. I don't know. So overall, the Silverado is just a vehicle that's function, power, just everyday use. You just get a lot more use out of it than I feel than you do an actual vehicle. There's just a lot more you can do with it. So.
What is my favorite vehicle here that I like to sell? Well, it'd have to probably be the new Cruze. I personally have a 2017 Cruze hatchback. I love speaking about the Cruzes because, well, I drive one every day. It's one of the safest, smaller sedans that GM has to offer out there with a 5-star crash rating, and that can get you about 40 miles to the gallon and more. 10 airbags. It has a lot of connectivity features like the Bluetooth, so now I don't have to take out my cell phone and make calls. I can do all that by the steering wheel. I can play my music straight from my phone to my car radio. I've got 2 kids and another one on the way, so my kids fit perfectly in the back with a lot of room still left to go, and I still have a lot of cargo space left in it. But all in all, the styling of the vehicle is just absolutely wonderful. The vehicle is 250 pounds lighter, and plus it has 1.2 more inches of space on the inside. So that was a huge selling point for me, and I love talking about it, like I said, because of the safety, the crash rating, the connectivity features. It keeps me connected with my family and my friends, and of course my children.
but I'm gonna take my chances and see what Dayton, Ohio has to offer. I started over at Jack Hulsman's. How many of you remember Jack Hulsman's in Fairborn? And I started there selling cars at the Nissan dealership, and it was back to doing that, selling cars and having a good time. And I worked my way. I was with Jack Hulsman for 3 years. He passed away, and a guy came on board who bought the company. His name was Jeff Schmidt. And Jeff oftentimes would say to people, you know, I didn't hire Steve, I inherited him, jokingly. Jeff and I had a great relationship, and I worked my way up through the company and became the sales manager, general sales manager, general manager of all the dealerships, and then vice president. But I'm thankful to him for A, allowing me to do that, and I learned a heck of a lot from him. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. And in 2013, I left Jeff Schmidt Auto Group, having been there for 20 years. And I was scared to death. And you know, I laid back for about a year, and then I decided, you know what, I love this, I want to get back into it. And I bought this little lot in Vandalia. And literally, it's about half the size of this room. And we started selling cars, and we had 3 employees.
That might be exaggerating half the size of this room.
Greg was in there. And it was embarrassing. I mean, when you went to sign your paperwork, the bathroom was right there, okay? So we had a lot of fond memories there. We were there for about 3 years, or no, 3 years. We were there for about a year. We bought Englewood, bought another lot in Englewood because we were doing really well there. My dream was to become a GM dealer. That was always my dream. And I called everybody that would take a phone call. Every one of these dealers. Hey, are you interested in selling? And most of them didn't take me serious. And a guy by the name of Ron Garrett in Greenville, Ohio, took my call and was willing to meet. And I met with him and his wife, and we talked. And it took us almost 6 months, but we made a deal. And on July 2015, I bought Ron Garrett Chevrolet, which is in Greenville, Ohio, now SVG Chevrolet. Shortly thereafter, there was a guy that called me and said, hey, we've got a Chrysler store in Eaton, Ohio. He owned 2 stores, and his other store was in Cleveland. And he said, I can't do both. I recently had a heart attack. I can't do both. But we ended up buying the Chrysler store. And about the same time that Chrysler store was going down, we were making that deal, a guy called me. I remember exactly where I was. I was in the Kroger's parking lot at Austin Landing, and I got a phone call on a Sunday. He says, hey, I've got a lot downtown Dayton. Car lot. It was an old car lot. You could buy it. It said auction. I said, I am not interested. And he said, the auction's tomorrow. You ought to come look at it. It's a great deal. Da, da, da. We bought that lot. Today, that lot's on Chute Mill. It used to be Mormon Pontiac. Anybody been there? Yeah. It's a really big dealership. I never thought that we could fill it. Well, we've managed to really fill that place, and they're doing well. This month, we're hoping to sell 125 cars out of that store. And then Urbana happened. I got a phone call from a friend at GM. He says, hey, can you duplicate what you did in Greenville? Let's do it again over in Urbana. And July of last year, we bought Urbana, which gave us 4 locations. And recently, some of you may have seen that we purchased SVG Motors in Beaver Creek, the old Eastgate Ford lot. There on 35, and it's a great big facility. We can take the building in Dayton and fit it inside this building. It's huge. And it's been tough. I will say I have never worked so hard in my entire life. But I will say I love what I do. I enjoy what I do, and maybe to a fault.
All right, standing next to me is a beautiful Kia. Boy, I tell you what, this car looks good with you, Mitchell. How's it going?
Mitchell's got soul.
Mitchell's got soul. I see what you did there. The Kia Soul, Mitchell's got soul. I see what he's doing. So, Mitchell, I like you like it in the brown?
A lot of people like it in the brown.
Well, this is not a bad color. I like the car. I like the color. Lots of room. Mitchell, what are you, 6'4"?
6'3".
6'3". Mitchell's a big dude. He's got plenty of headroom. Mitchell, you just comfortable ride?
It is.
How many miles you got on this thing? 50,000?
50,917 miles.
You know what? So something like this, you got great gas mileage, Bluetooth. NADA retail says it's going to sell for $12,500, but here at SVG Motors, I'm thinking we could sell it for like $12,300. $12,300 too much? What are you thinking? $12,100. Okay, what the heck? Because here at SVG, we move you up a couple years.
And keep your payments the same.
That's right, only in day 10. All right, for all of you construction guys out there, and I know you're out there and you're looking for some work, whether they're AC guys, you used to do some work like that, right?
Yeah, home remodel. I'm a carpenter by trade, but I tell you, it's a great truck for do-it-yourselfers.
It's a 2012 Ford Transit XLT, automatic transmission, 88,000 miles. You got, look at all these little shelves you got and stuff you can do, lockable. Man, this thing's got a lot of room. Take a look at all this stuff up top.
Ladder racks, I mean, everything.
It looks like a transformer, like it's gonna turn into a GoBot or something. Let's see what you do in the back here. Oh man. All kinds of room to put stuff, shelving. I'll tell you what, if you're looking for affordable transportation for your commercial business, NADA retail says we should sell this for $8,300 without all these extra stuff that it has. But here at SVG, with all the extras, it's gotta have $3,000 or $4,000 worth of stuff here. Under 10 grand, $9,500 here at SVG Motors in Dayton. Come out and see us, or see
Nathan.
Nathan.
Move you up a couple years.
Keep your payments the same. Okay. You gotta take a look at the front end of this vehicle. This is good looking. Dodge Dart 2015. Ron, you look really comfortable in there.
Steve, this car is nice, man. It's a limited GT. Alpine audio, remote start, heated leather seats, heated.
Take a look at the navigation screen in this thing. I mean, it's
I'll
got
tell you,
nav, it's got all the goodies. Sunroof, leather, heated seats. You can't see it on the camera, but there's red leather stitching in the seats.
It's beautiful, Steve.
You know what? I like the tinted windows. NADA retail says this vehicle should sell for $14,500. Here at SVG Motors, we got it at $14,300. Very limited production of these vehicles. Come out to SVG Motors where we move you up a couple years.
Keep your payments the same.
Angel, what's up?
Hi, Steven. How are you today?
Well, you know, I like coming and seeing you every once in a while, but this time I have a question.
Okay.
Not all of my customers are ready to buy a new car as much as I'd like them to.
Well, we can move them up a
couple years, keep their payments the same. Yeah, but in this case, they want to keep the car they have. But they ask me, how can they get better gas mileage?
Well, there's a few things we can do. One is always make sure you have a clean air filter. That is very important to the fuel mileage. Two, make sure your tires are pumped up to the correct air pressure.
Okay, so I can get a new air filter. That makes sense. And check the tire pressure of my tires, because that makes sense to improve my gas mileage. But there's got to be another way to get better gas mileage.
Well, there's also a few other things you can do. Number one is do a fuel system treatment. And what that does is we have the 3-part here for, I think it's $129.95. And what we do is we're going to put an additive in your gas tank, and that's going to start from the gas tank up to the front of the vehicle. We're going to go through, we're going to clean the injectors, we're going to clean the top part of your engine. And the reason we do that, I'll show you right here. This is what happens over time, and that is so true. You would not believe some of the messes we've cleaned up off of engines. This is a brand new one, and we want to keep it close to this as humanly possible. That's why we try to do the whole fuel system treatment. So we treat all of the system, not just one part of it. We clean out the throttle body, we do all that. In my car, I bought my car at 55,000 miles, and I have 227,000 miles on it. And I still get the same gas mileage I got when I bought the car, because I keep my fuel system cleaned out. And it's highly recommended to do that maybe once a year. And like I said, we can take care of it all in about an hour and a half for about $129.95, and you are good to go for another year.
Angel, thank you so much. I always love coming back here and learning new stuff from you about cars and things like that. You know, I like selling them, but
I think it's kind of cool to fix them and do different things. So thank you. I had no idea that there was so much you could do to improve your gas mileage.
Definitely. And I'm glad you came back.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's my belief that if you set your mind to something, it can happen. And I'm not saying believe me because I'm telling you that. I'm saying it because I believe it to be true. I've seen it in my own life. I didn't come from a bunch of money, but I had some people who took an interest in me, and I was like a sponge. I sat down with anybody that I could talk to that I thought could help me with some knowledge, and it's been a fun ride. And I will tell you that I don't know how many of you are business owners in here. You know, you gotta know you want this thing, and then you gotta just go for it. You know, and when we talk about goals, I think people talk about the goals thing is oversaid, but the reality in my mind is that if we can quiet that little negative person inside of us, because we all have it, I have it. I read somewhere that 87% of our self-talk is negative, and we think 40,000 thoughts a day. So you can imagine it's nonstop. You can't. And sometimes you got friends telling you can't do it, you got family telling you can't do something, and then you've got that voice in your head telling you can't do something. And I guess at some point you got to come to terms with the fact that I can hear it, it's there, I recognize the fact, and I'm not different. There's nothing different about me that I have these negative thoughts and I'm talking myself out of these things. But I can choose not to listen to those words. In fact, and start saying things that I don't even believe. 3 years ago, if I told you that I would sell 4,000 cars a year, I'd laugh at that. And I even said some things to some people that know me, that we would be the #1 auto retailer in the Dayton market. And I said that, and I really didn't believe it. Today I do. I appreciate you guys allowing me to come in and talk to you guys. If I can impress anything upon you with my story is believe that it's possible, because it is. It is possible, and your only enemy is that person in your head. If you can beat that person, you got it made. You know, because nobody out there knows what you're really capable of.
Thanks for watching another episode of SVG Motors Weekly. And if you haven't done it yet, go to youtube.com and subscribe to the SVG Motors channel. Or go to our Facebook page and like our page. And last but not least, if you want to see future episodes, go to your DVR and search SVG Motors and catch future episodes. Thanks again for watching.